Aloha, students. Today we're going to talk about percent of an amount. You know me, I like to teach you guys stuff conceptually and give you a way to like visualize it, understand it, so you don't have to memorize it on how to do things. I want you to think about what things mean and then figure it out versus just memorize some way to do things. So this is a lesson you might not like think is like a normal math lesson. Uh, so here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Let's before we approach this idea of what it means to say the percent of something. 50% of $50, 25% of $117. Before we think of that, I really just want to look at of an amount. Just this part right here, of an amount. What does that mean of an amount? Well, I see that elsewhere in math where we talk about groups of an amount. Oh, look at that orange field. That's interesting. Groups of an amount. Where do we see that? Remember, guys, I'm trying to teach you conceptually, and I'm trying to help you understand like what would you put in a calculator, right? So if I need to put something in a calculator, I need to know like numbers to use, and I need to know am I adding, am I subtracting, am I multiplying, am I dividing? Let's use that same lens here when we're talking about group of an amount. Am I talking about addition, subtraction, multiplication, division? So where do we see this groups of an amount? Well, let's do an example. Let's say we have like three groups of six. What would that look like? Well, here's a group, three groups of six, six in each, right? That so what do I see here? I see six plus six, so I see addition. I see repeated addition. This is multiplication. Whenever I say I have groups of an amount, that's just saying I have multiplication happening. I have six happening three times, right? Here it is. You see this as well in other models. You know me, I like the square model, the grid model, where I probably have like three columns, and in each column, hold up, in each column, oh, bad drawing, each column having six squares. That should be equal, right? Okay, so groups of an amount is multiplication. That's important to know. This of an amount, something of an amount starts to show grouping. All right, so let's use this to examine the idea of percentage of an amount, but honestly, not even that yet. I don't even need, before I get into percentages of an amount, let's just talk about parts of an amount. What would it mean to say a part of an amount? So let's use that same example of six. Okay, the amount is six, and we want to know part of six. Okay, well, here's six. This would be one group of six. If I duplicated it, it would be two groups of six. If I want to know part of six, well, let's see, what math do I have to show parts? I know I have fractions. Fractions show parts, where I'm not doing like the whole brownie, I'm doing a piece of the brownie out of so many pieces. Um, Percentages, I know that that's a part. Sometimes I'm not, a percentage can show that I'm not doing 100%. I'm doing 50%, which is only a part of it, right? If I'm not paying 100% of the bill, if I'm only paying 10% of the bill, I'm only paying a part of that bill. So so let's use some of these. Like, so fraction, the easiest fraction we all think of is half. So what if I want that part to be half of six? What would that look like? Well, one of six would be this whole thing, yeah? But half of six would be half a group of it. A whole group is six. A half a group is three. Is this amount right here? Okay. So duplicating it, if there's one group, it's just this one whole group. Two groups, it's two of them. Half, it's just saying I don't want a whole group. I don't want two groups. I just want this part of the group. It's doing the same thing, guys. All of this is to say that when we say part of an amount or groups of an amount, this of an amount idea, it is multiplication. Okay, that's the main thing I wanted you to take away from what I'm showing you here. So how does that help us? How does that help us? Give me a second to clear this out. Let's look at percent. Percent of an amount. All right, which is another way to say part. We're saying part, not groups of an amount, part of an amount, which could be considered a group. It could be considered a small group, right? I don't want two groups. I don't want one group. I just want half of a group. That's still grouping, still multiplication. So percent of an amount, let's just say 50% of 4. So let's do a real world example of this. And let's bring out 4 orange chocolate pieces. Okay, here's 4 orange chocolate pieces for you. Well, that's only 3. Now we have 4 chocolate pieces. Now I want to know 50% of 4. Okay, the next thing to understand is, that's very important, is that 50% means 50 out of 100. 50% means 50 out of 100 of 4. Dude, what does that mean? 50 out of 100 of 4. Okay, part of 4, but what part? It's 50 hundredths of 4. It's 50 out of, if there was 100 parts, I only want 50 of them. Well, I don't see 100 parts. I only see 4 parts. But guys, this should start to make sense when, well, there's the 4th one. This should start to make sense when I now have a way to cut those orange chocolate pieces. When I can cut those orange chocolate pieces into 100 pieces, there it is, there's 100 pieces, right? So I cut them up into 100 pieces. Well, now you guys hopefully can see that 50 out of that 100 pieces is this right here, is these 2 pieces. Now, we chose a really simple percentage. We chose something that worked out very evenly. Obviously, like you can't. It's harder to see when you don't have something that so easily is cut up into 100 parts, right? Like for example, 6, to cut 6 into 100 equal parts is not easy, but that's okay. That's the cool thing about math. We just establish these rules with the easy numbers, and then we use those same rules with the hard numbers with the calculator. All right? So just want to make sure you got that idea.